So welcome everyone to the first session back of the FFEM group since the summer break, and today we are joined by Charlotte Jamieson and Jane Gow from Clearcut Financial Planning. They're going to talk to us a little bit today about the graduate programme at Clearcut, about the journey maybe from graduate to financial planner, and about 2 chair meetings, which is one thing that I've previously spoken to Jane a lot about. So we'll kick off. We're going to do it Q&A style. So we're going to fire some questions and hopefully we'll get some really good content from that. But if there is anything that I think of as I'm going through that we haven't prepared for, I'll make sure I try and cover that. And also if there's questions from any of the people joining us, then we can also be open to questions. So let's go first to Charlotte and Jane, but we'll get Charlotte to introduce herself, tell us a bit about her role at Clearcut, and then we'll do a similar thing with Jane. So over to you, Charlotte.
Thank you. So I'm Charlotte. I am a chartered financial planner. I work at Clearcut here with Jane. I've been at Clearcut now for 7 years. I came straight out of university and joined the graduate program here, and I've worked through various roles I started on client support, then to a support power planner, then to a power planner, then to associate financial planner, and now I'm a financial planner. So I've kind of gone through the whole works, through the whole way, and through the graduate scheme. And so now my day-to-day role is, meeting new clients, but mainly taking on the servicing of our existing clients from retiring advisors. So part of the succession planning of the firm.
Yeah, my name's Jane Gow, and I'm the founder of Clearcut Financial Planning, and we're celebrating this year our 10th year anniversary of being in existence. I've been a financial planner in, one gauge or another, virtually all my working life, originally in the old days from Halifax, and then spent a few years working in other people's IFA type businesses. And then, like I say, 10 years ago, we started Clearcut Financial Planning, and we've just been building it over the last 10 years. So I think for us, the graduate scheme started, I'll be honest, very accidentally. And, we've sort of built on that over the years, from things being an accident, so it's making it up as we go along, to actually, after 10 years, probably thinking, actually, we have got quite a good graduate scheme in place with lots of processes and things there, which we'll do a bit of a deeper dive in later. So that's a quick introduction from me. Feel free to ask me any questions that you want about my background. I'll probably not give you an awful lot of information. I think we were going to start where we're looking at our graduate video, just to kind of so a really good picture of what we've been doing over the last 10 years.
Yeah. So if I play the video, then we can kind of come back and talk a little bit about that. So I'm going to share my screen and do everything that we talked about practicing before, and hopefully everyone will be able to watch this little video from Clearcut on their website when I share. So is this working? Can you see everything?
Yeah.
So I'll hit play and fingers crossed.
Darren.
Gemma.
Charlotte.
Rebecca.
Taylor.
Adam.
Matt.
Ellie.
2014.
2016. 2017.
2020.
2021. 2022.
This year.
I was at university and a part-time job in Argos.
I was a junior project manager at Russell Hobbs.
I went to university at
Liverpool. Before Clearcut, I was at uni, so I came straight out of uni.
I did a short stint in accountancy.
I worked as an investigation officer resolving energy complaints.
Worked in retail for Marks and Spencer's. I was an area store manager.
I worked in the civil service before Clearcut, so it was a little bit of a change.
I'm a chartered financial planner.
So I'm head of operations.
I'm a chartered financial planner.
Role at Clearcut now is a financial planner.
I'm a power planner with a slant towards the investment side of things.
I work as a power planner.
My current title is the Client Services Manager.
I'm a support power planner.
Cash flow. I like pulling things together and working on scenario-based solutions. I think we've got a great team at Clearcut. I think everybody's together, they help each other to try and improve one another and do the best for the clients.
Watching the business grow, I've loved watching the business grow over the years.
I enjoy that every day is different and every client is different and has different needs and aspirations, and we can use our expertise and knowledge to help them get there, and it's fulfilling.
When we get to about the third client meetings, when we see new clients, we sort of have a few discovery meetings and getting to know the client. And then when we get to about the third or fourth meeting, we start showing them what the outcomes are of what we found. So showing them the cash flow and it really coming to life, showing them that they are going to be able to achieve their goals, and yeah, it's just really rewarding.
I really enjoy where I work. The location of the offices is great, definitely different from the city vibe. And on top of that, I really enjoy being able to go out and do loads of CPD and additional accreditation to improve my knowledge of the role.
I enjoy the flexibility of the role.
The people, both the clients and the team.
Enjoying just learning lots of new things and researching different products for our clients.
It's great working with a young team. Over 50% of Clearcut team are under the age of 35. It's great that we can all progress as individuals as well as have grown with the business at the same time.
What's fun about Clearcut is on top of all the work we do, we also have like fun days out. So we have monthly lunches where we all get together and Clearcut get lunch for us. And then we do team days out. So we've been to Go Ape in the past, and then we went hovercrafting last year with the whole team. So yeah, so on top of the work, it's good that there's fun stuff to do as well.
So I thoroughly enjoy the team that I work with. There's lots of team days. It's a really tight-knit community amongst the clients and the staff here.
I really do like all the events that we run because we have lots of exciting speakers, get to meet clients, and yeah, I just like preparing for them really.
There we are.
How do you feel seeing yourself back on that video, Charlotte? It's always
It's so great. At least there wasn't any bloopers on that one because there usually are.
Actually, yeah, we forgot bloopers, didn't we?
excellent. So Jane, do you want to tell us, like you said, or really it was a bit by accident, but talk us through a little bit about, you know, how you started that graduate program then at Clearcut.
Well, I think it started with Darren 10 years ago when we first started, and Darren is actually my son-in-law, and he graduated from university. He was applying for a few jobs, didn't really know what he wanted to do, and I recognised he'd gone for a few interviews, had a few knockbacks. I could see his confidence sort of flagging a little bit. And then at the same time, I was at Chester University listening to a presentation from the business school there, who were telling me that there was some funding, I think it was ERDF funding, that if we wanted to take on a graduate, that they would pay them for the first 3 months. And at the time, you know, we just started the business, we were quite poor. I'm like, you know, business starved in the first few years, trying to build it up, so couldn't afford the luxury of graduates and wages and everything else. So it just started, like I say, I went home that day and sort of said, well, you can come work for me for 3 months. I'm not going to pay you. It's the university. You can pick some knowledge up, something to put on your CV and go from there. And I think it really opened both of our eyes at the same time. He loved it. And I thought, actually, it's taken quite a lot off me. And, you know, he'd done a business finance degree. And we just, you know, started continuing with that. And then Charlotte came to me. I think you were the next one, weren't you? Gemma was number 2. Maybe number 3. And Charlotte came to me for some work experience as like a summer intern. She really enjoyed it, just to get some experience. And then she said to me one day, I've applied for a job in another financial planning firm in Liverpool, and would you give me a reference? And I thought, oh, she's really good as well. Do I want to lose her to another financial planning? So we kind of sat down, and I think I said to you, didn't I? Yeah. Would you stay here and do a graduate scheme here? Which she was delighted with.
Yeah, no, it was a good day.
Yeah. So like this, what I'm saying, these sort of things kind of started. So then we started working more with the universities. more with, you know, interns. I've got some links with Manchester Met University. We've done a couple of interns from there. Chester University do a 5-week program as part of the degree where students come in to, you know, get experience. And I think for me, it kind of gives us a little bit of, we don't take them all on, but it gives us a bit of a try before we buy sort of thing, and gives them a real insight into what goes on in a financial planning business. And there's probably, most people probably know that people at university don't really know very much about financial planning, even when there's lots of finance degrees around. So, you know, generally speaking, everybody who comes in, it really opened their eyes. And so, you know, then we get more formal about it. We were very lucky in the early days that I've got a good relationship with Adam Owen from Next Gen. Adam Owen, we call him OG because we do have our own Adam Owen. That is one of our graduates. So now we have Adam Owen, OG, and our Adam Owen.
Yeah.
And he came in the early days and, you know, very generously gave us his time as he was building Next Gen to sort of train you, Gemma, Daz, Bex. So I don't know if Charles wants to add anything to those early days of us making it up as we went along.
In terms of the early days, it was very much like, it was straight, we became a kind of a quite close-knit graduate scheme. There's about 4 of us on at the same time, which I think was great at the time because it meant that we're all doing it at the same time. OG Adam Owen gave us a lot of his time, helped us training. It was great. The structure with all our RO exams really led quite easily through the graduate program at the time. And I personally really enjoyed all the exams and kind of did all those. It was a good part of, and we got a lot of revision time. Jane and Clearcut were generous with our revision days within the firm, CPD days, revision days out. Yeah, the early days were, you know, when we're talking like 7 years ago, when there was only a small amount of us. It was quite, you know, it was close because there's a lot of learning within the team, wasn't there? We all kind of were learning at the same time to grow as a team, as Jane had kind of gone from small, you and Lorraine, it's like more of us. I mean, there was a lot of PCs, we call them, don't we? Professional cries in the toilet as we're all, you know, learning.
Pre-exam,
post-exam, you know, things like that. But we were all kind of growing as a team. So, but then when the graduate program became more established, we started taking more people in that maybe weren't as, you know, were coming through more official, because like Jane said, it was a bit of an accident. We all kind of fell together and it worked really well. And then it was almost like, it's quite not risky, but it kind of felt more like there was more risk taking on people, you know, that we didn't know that had kind of fallen through as like an actual graduate applicant. But it worked so well. We were really lucky with a lot of people that we've taken on, weren't we? And it's been, you know, it's been a really good process, really.
So I think somewhere in the middle of those 10 years, we kind of formalised it a bit more. We now use Next Gen. So, and that, I feel like I can step back as a business owner to the RO learning and all that kind of thing is all done. We're more hands-on. We did use the apprenticeship scheme, the government apprenticeship scheme for a couple of the graduates, but although we got funding for some of it, I felt like, you know, I'm happy to discuss that. I feel like the Next Gen programme is better, even though, although saying that, I think the cost of that has reduced massively over the years. Because the problem with the apprenticeship, they wanted them not just to pass exams, there was a lot of repetition on the coursework and things like that, you know, I don't think was as relative. You felt like you did an RO exam and then you had to do an assignment on the RO content.
Yeah, I remember you and I talking about it, and you saying that also, like, the graduate, you know, people who are actually going through it were just getting really frustrated with that. So, you know, I can understand that. Charlotte, with your so did you just start to get really interested in financial planning before the placement, or was it like you needed a placement and then thought, oh, this is quite good?
Well, to be honest, I finished university, I did like a business degree, but I still, when I came out of it, I thought I wanted to go into more like merchandising, buying, and I needed some work experience. And I thought, you know, I would apply, and I worked with Jane, and I kind of was still going for those kind of jobs. And then as I was like listening around the office, I started thinking, this is really interesting. I hadn't really heard about financial planning as an industry or a profession really in much detail. And I started looking at the other power planners at the time, and I remember thinking, I quite like the look of this. It's like, you know, interesting, all the clients coming through the door, meeting them, seeing everyone was different. And I saw like the structure and the way that you could I feel that, I don't know, my personal feelings is that, you know, I get a lot of validation through learning and exams, and that's quite like a good way to validate what you're doing and learning, and then builds your confidence. Because I feel like when I first started, I think you probably agree, I wasn't very confident at all, was I? And I feel like doing your exams and learning like that way kind of can bring you some of that. So in answer, no, I wasn't looking for a financial planning job, but I'm obviously so pleased that I did, because it's been, you know, one of the best things that could have happened to me, and I've just kind of gone through the role. So I kind of started as a support power planner, then became quite a technical power planner. I was doing the investment proposition at the firm for a couple of years. I did AF7, which is the pension transfer advice. I was doing a lot of work with the advisors. So we did quite a lot of safeguarded benefits transfers at the time, DB transfers. So that was a really interesting part, because I think there was a time, you know, maybe 5-6 years ago when we did quite a few of those. That was interesting and quite bespoke at the time. And I feel like just gradually building my confidence before I became an associate financial planner, which involved going into meetings and having a less behind the screen, more client facing kind of role. So it's kind of been a confidence journey, I think, looking back, suited.
Yeah, and so, because you've answered some of the questions that we've got, but one of the things that feels like that it's coming out, and especially from what you've said, Charlotte, is that kind of technical knowledge to start off with, and kind of really getting to grips with that to build your confidence, and then moving into this associate planner role that you've talked about for financial planner. So are those the things you think you've found out over the period that you've been, you know, doing that now, and then sort of cementing that, say 5 years ago when you laid out the graduate program, that you've found that work really well for the journey for people, Jane, and well, both of you, but maybe Jane for this? And then do you think that
I think
structure that works?
It really, really does work. And I think you know, we do probably 80-90% of our meetings in the office. So I think it really works well in, you know, in that kind of business structure. So we started off literally in the early days, you know, now like Charlotte and Rebecca was similar, and Darren, you know, were technically trained. I mean, because Charlotte will tell you the first year that she came into our office, she used to say things to me like, gosh, you all speak a different language here. You know, that's the first experience I think a graduate has.
Yeah.
Now, you know, she's like learned the language, and, you know, passed, like I say, she's well on her way to being chartered at this point. So we generally wouldn't put somebody in an interview in a client meeting probably till they've done their diploma. So the first 2 years now are sort of spent, you know, behind the scenes learning those ropes, and then at 2 years. So initially it was, you know, Charlotte used to like, you know, it's a bit of a confidence thing as well. Sit in the meeting room, not really be noticed, etc. I mean, everyone's a little bit different. Happy to listen into what's going on, take the meeting notes, send the follow-up email. It was great for me. Do a lot of the, you know, fact find and all the background work and everything. And then gradually, step by step, maybe once a quarter, I'd say she's come around the room to literally now sits opposite on her own in front of a client there. But I think the thought of that for Charlotte at the beginning would have been really scary.
Yeah, we did. Jeremy, we did quite a lot at the beginning with OG Adamo, and actually about personality traits.
Yeah.
And Kate, we did all the personality traits, and it was like red, blue, green, yellow. Yellow is obviously a talkative, confident person. I remember I came out as a green. I was really upset at the time. This is quite an honest admission. And I was upset at the time, so I'll never be able to be a financial planner because I'm introvert, and I'm, you know, that's my comfort zone. But it just shows that, you know, you don't have to be a certain personality to be able to do these kind of things. You can be whoever you need to be, and your confidence comes in different ways. And, you know, I've been really grateful that I've had a great environment to learn with. Women is quite a help, you know, Jane, there's another Jane, surrounded by Gemma and Rebecca. You know, we're all kind of growing together at the same time. And not saying we haven't got men, we have got men, lots of men as well. But like, you know, we are kind of like a female, we're passionate about females and things like that within the firm. So it's been a great like environment to learn.
And I think, you know, Charlotte and Rebecca are both testament to the fact that, you know, something like 6% of advisors are under the age of 30 on the FCA register, and they're both on the FCA register. They're both delivering great quality financial advice. And if you kind of go back to that journey of Charlotte moving around the room, sitting in front of the client, I think the next step was cash flow.
Yeah.
You know, because it's not regulated. So you were presenting, we'd start the meeting, we've also had a meeting agenda, I'd open it, talk about their objectives, and then Charlotte would present the cash flow planning. So that was like the first part of the meeting that, you know, you got involved with, didn't it?
Yeah.
So would you call that your 2-chair meeting format then?
Yeah.
I think the 2-chair meetings started off gradually. So when they first started, it was like me sat down one end of the table and Jane sat opposite the client. It was very much like, please don't speak to me, I'm terrified. You know, I'm just trying to, like, you know, be here and be present. And then it gradually we all kind of sloped closer together and all sat opposite the client. And then gradually, as Jane says, it became like he was presenting the cash flow, to now kind of, if we do any 2-chair meetings, you know, very jointly presented. But some things that I feel like are really important when you're doing 2-chair meetings is kind of having a debrief with the advisor at the time, you know, beforehand, to see kind of what the boundaries are, what you want to achieve, how much input you want, because we've had lots of advisors that I've done 2-chair meetings with, and everyone has different opinions, different ways, styles, and there's, you know, Jane, you know, would like me to do one thing, whereas another advisor might prefer if, you know, they said that bit, or they presented the investment, you know, kind of solution, or, you know, that kind of thing. So it's really important to have like a debrief with the advisor in question at the time. And then afterwards, we always used to sit down. Jane would like give me feedback on anything that, you know, that I could improve and things like that. Just a great invaluable learning experience for me. And then the benefit for the client as well as well, there's a benefit for the client because I've been in meetings with Jane now for 4 years. So now if they are getting passed over as part of a succession, you know, they know me. It's not like I'm just a stranger that's kind of coming in, having to rebuild the trust. It's like, it's really invaluable as part of a succession plan, if that's what people are planning to do as part of their firm, you know, structure.
And do you, like, in your agenda, when you're laying things out for the client, and it's going to be kind of like, let's say the first time that it's a proper 2-chair, you might have been in there before, but it's, you know, a 2-chair meeting where you're going to present, do you lay out to the client, like, in that agenda, who's going to do what part, or so that it's clear for them as well?
Now I go into a meeting, and because, you know, the clients are familiar with Charlotte, I'll start the meeting sort of saying, you know, actually Charlotte's going to run your meeting today. And, you know, where we feel that we've done a successful handover, like I say, sometimes I'll come in and say hi to the client, you know, when they come in, and I might say bye to them when they go. And we do have, although obviously all our advisors have got their own type of style, we do follow an agenda that the client is getting the same kind of information, same format, same agenda in the meeting. So, you know, the feedback I get is, oh, it's just like being with you, and oh yeah, you know, Charlotte was great. We had some great, fantastic emails after the meeting. And sometimes that's been on the odd occasion for various reasons that, you know, Charlotte's been thrown in, that we were going to do a 2-chair meeting. I think there was an incident where I ended up having to go to a funeral or something like that, and we didn't want to cancel the client meeting, so their client hadn't expected to see Charlotte. And she said, you know, this kind of started the meeting, you know, a little bit, you know, with their arms folded, and by the end of it, they were like totally relaxed and fine. The body language was important, and then the follow-up email was just fantastic. And when you know, for Charlotte's confidence to go from that, or, you know, a bit of pushback, not a major pushback, to getting that fabulous email after the meeting saying about how thorough she'd been, she'd covered everything, you know, is great. So, and I think, to be honest, we're at the stage with the business now that if anybody had a problem with how we're doing and what we're doing, then I think it's more a problem that we've got with the client than with us, because it's few and far between, literally few and far between.
I think what's quite interesting. Oh, sorry.
I was just going to say, I have to question that. So if there's a particular client I've got in mind that I go, I'm really struggling to unleash them from me, I start thinking that's really the problem with them, because, you know, we're all experienced, qualified, everything else. You know, and I think at some point in the future, there might be a handful, very small handful, that, you know, we have to say that maybe I've been tiptoeing around them the whole of our relationship. Sorry, go on, Gretchen.
Yeah, no, a lot of it's resonating.
You've probably got the same one.
you know, and I've been there, obviously, taking over clients from Julie, and
Yeah.
you know, we had some that were like really resonant even to the very end, and then she eventually had to say, I'm retiring, so
Yeah.
tough luck, that's what's happening if you want to stay, you know.
Yeah.
But no, I was going to say, so but what is really interesting for me, and I think is under estimated generally in these types of scenarios, is how long that the period is taken. So you've said that, you know, you've been doing 2 chair meetings together for 4 years, you know, and I think most people underestimate how long it takes to, you know, get to that stage, either from a confidence level and from the client's perspective of feeling, you know, entirely comfortable to kind of make that transition. Do you think that that's a fair comment, or do you think that maybe that's where it goes wrong sometimes as well?
I think it is. I think in an ideal, what I call is an ideal world, I think 5 years is a really good time to do it in. I think for me, because I've also taken over retiring advisors, you know, a long time ago. And I used to say the first meeting was about me coming into the meeting and saying, hi, I'm your new advisor, so-and-so is going to retire in a few years. And they kind of look at you and sort of go, oh, I don't like the sound of this. The second meeting is sort of like, oh yeah, no, I've met you before, but I'm still familiar with the advisor that I've got. And actually, you're probably doing more of a 2-chair meeting at that second meeting, where the client's kind of going, yeah, they know what they're talking about. They're quite similar. Everyone's on the same page. Not going to do anything drastic. And then the third meeting becomes actually, you know, if it was Charlotte should be running that third meeting. I might just kind of step back a bit, stay in the room, you know, so that they can see that, you know, that move has gone. And then fourth or fifth, they're a bit of a, oh, I'm still here, but, you know, I'm going to say hi and bye, and that's about it. And I think that's an ideal scenario, but sometimes health and things like that. And I have spoken to other firms, I think where a major incident comes in, you know, and, you know, there's nothing to say that I don't turn up on the front door on a Monday morning, then I think the fact that we've done this work would mean that we've got enough groundwork done that I feel quite confident now that I don't think we'd have any pushback to say that, you know, Jane's just had to take 6 months off, touch wood, you know, for whatever reason. So I think, yes, I think you're definitely right with the ideally 5 years, but I also am quite conscious that I think I'm holding us back by being a bit protective of, well, we're not quite ready with that client yet, or we'll keep just going there a bit longer. And actually, if I didn't have a choice, like you said there, that's it, it's the end.
Yeah.
So I don't know if you balance those two things out.
And I think that there's maybe also that thing of the fear of us, Jane, holding back the graduate from just becoming confident in that role. So I think we've, you know, because maybe too long, or because maybe too it's that fine line between throwing you in the deep end and then not letting you do, or not allowing for a certain amount of growth. You know, I think it's finding balance.
I'd say we've got about 2/3 of clients handed over now, haven't we?
Yeah, I'd say so.
Where Charlotte does them on her own.
Yeah.
So do you think there's anything that in this mix you would have done differently? Like, have you learned from some of the experiences along the way that you would now, reflecting back, do differently?
In terms of what we could have done differently, I think is maybe a different slant in terms of existing clients. But one thing, if anyone else was going to start doing 2-chair meetings going forward, would be to do 2-chair meetings for all types of meetings. So I don't know if you agree, but the new business meetings, we mainly always focused on doing review meetings and all that kind of things, whereas now in the last 12 months we've become, you know, seeing new clients, and that's something that maybe we should have done more 2-chair meetings on throughout the thing. But there's only so much people can do, you know, there's only so many capacity, so there's always going to be capacity issues. Everyone's so busy, but
we've always had capacity issues, you know, sort of doing these, but we've always done the 2-chair meetings for reviews, but less of them for, you know, sort of new client meetings. I think for various reasons, but yeah, I think yeah, I mean, they've definitely worked for us. I don't know if we would do anything different. I think all we've done is we've got our formalised approach. I mean, we could maybe speed it up. I think that we did training with Adam, didn't we? 1 day training, and I think, you know, that was you know, helpful for everybody to do that. And you know, I think the advantage of it, the 2 chair meetings, is Charlotte has literally sat in hundreds of client meetings over the last 4 years. I mean, we all know as financial planners, there's always new scenarios out there, and you think no 2 clients are the same. But you know, we're not a firm where somebody starts as a trainee financial planner and we do 3 assessed interviews with them, and that's it, they're out on their own. They've literally sat in hundreds, and that to me is the really valuable experience that I know that I'm leaving behind.
Yeah, it sounds amazing. Okay, so we'll start to wrap a bit, but the question that was posed was that, Charlotte, you know, where are you now, and what does your typical day look like and week look like? I'm quite also intrigued to hear that from Jane, because it feels like what you're trying to do is, you know, release more of your time so that you can do slightly different focus in your business. And I think that would also be of use to hear for our listeners as well. But shall we go first with Charlotte to kind of hear like what your day looks like, and you know, what your weeks tend to work out like now that you're fully fledged as such?
Yeah, fully fledged. Well, it's probably fair to say that every week seems different. We're lucky we do a lot of flexible hours, you know, at Clearcut, which is work. So I tend to start my days later, do all my things in the morning before work, and then I will come in and then work till later, and then probably 3 meetings a week, client meetings, review meetings they tend to be, then spending time after preparing for them fair few hours before, preparing for client meetings, and then after work passing over any suitability reports to power planners. We do a lot of internal meetings, you know, planning for the business, progression, you know, and where things go. We're always looking forward to make sure that we're always ahead of the game. What else do we do? Lots. Busy week. We've got on Thursday, we've got the International Women's Day event after work. Then we're actually going after work, I don't know if this is appropriate, to see Greece at the hotel. Oh, yeah. Outdoor team day, team day up to see Greece outside. There's just, everything is always different. We've always got so much going on, haven't we? I don't know where we find the hours in the day, to be honest. I'm not sure. Sometimes we do, but we enjoy it as we go along. So that's the main thing. But yeah, that's,
and I think you've got like responsibility now for about 80 clients, or you're building up to about 80 clients.
Yeah,
we're having discussions about capacity issues, you know, what the right number of, I'm not sure we know the answer, we're working on that.
Yeah, we look at standardized kind of figures what other people look at, you know, what they say the capacity is, but then it's kind of trying to bring it into your firm and see what we do and actually how much capacity we have internally. I've also been doing, you know, meeting new clients, particularly for like you know, first initial chats, seeing if we can help them, getting some experience in terms of that as well, so then we can go forward.
And children of clients,
you know,
Charlotte will see, you know, the sort of the next gen.
Mm-hmm.
You know, sometimes it's just like a bit of a service to pinpoint them and get them on the radar. Other times they're in a position that, you know, there's some gifting going on, that they become, you know, another client as well.
Yeah, so lots of different things, and still do quite a lot of involvement in any kind of safeguarded benefit kind of advice and investment committee and things like that. So keep them busy. And then Jane's even busier.
I thought the point was you were meant to be less busy.
I know, it hasn't. I'm not gonna pretend it's all. There's always something else, isn't there? We're still a growing business, so yeah.
So are you still seeing clients on your own, Jane, or are all clients now sort of chair meetings, or?
I've still got about 50 clients that I'm seeing on my own, but our next associate financial planner is starting who's a graduate at the moment. He's just going to finish this year off in client services, and the plan is in January he'll become the next associate financial planner, so that we've always got, because a lot of energy has been going in with Darren, Charlotte and Bex, but you know, they are, you know, I mean, I'm confident that they're there now. I mean, we've all got some professional development that we can all continue to keep doing, but you know, I'm very confident in them that, you know, now now that we've got them sorted out, we've got the next associate financial planner. So Matt will be joining me in client meetings from January.
Brilliant. Well, thank you.
2 years doing that, and then he'll be the next financial planner. So we don't tend to call them trainee financial planners, it's more associate financial planners.
Great. Well, thank you so much for sharing your experiences. It's been really, really good. I'm sure that, yeah, certainly people, especially about this 2-chair thing, I think that a lot of people are intrigued by what that means and how we can really develop. So that's why I wanted to talk about that for definite. And I know that well, I'm sure that if anyone is listening, either listening live or listening back, if you're interested in kind of understanding how that graduate scheme has worked, that you know, and having a chat, then I'm sure that Clearcut be happy to do that and talk a little bit more about it.
Definitely.
Yeah. So thank you. I really appreciate your time.
Thank you.
I've got a few things just to announce before I stop, which are about next events coming up, etc. And also the website, which is going to hopefully go live next month. So we've got the website going live next month, just that things hopefully will be a bit easier to register for. I can get everyone on a database. I'm going to ask anyone that's joined the LinkedIn group to rejoin via the website so I can get everything really streamlined and launch it in a kind of bigger way going forward, now that it's almost been a year since I started the group. There's 180 people in the group, but we're definitely not getting, you know, people seeing the content, this great content that we're delivering. So we'll be doing that. So I'll let you know when that all launches and get that out on social media. And then the other dates for your diary are 3rd of October, where Carla Brown's going to be talking about finding your why. We've got the 7th of November, which is Ben Peel. He's going to talk about the insider's guide to value of advice. And that's kind of thinking about these intangibles, etc., in regards to consumer duty and kind of, you know, giving us a little bit more backup around that. I'm doing an honesty hour in November. I'm going to do that honesty hour now only every quarter because, you know, monthly seems a bit excessive for people, but quarterly. So come as you are, come with problems. Let's just have an open conversation about what's going on in your business. And if you need any feedback from anyone, that's on the 21st of November. And then the final one before Christmas will be Anna Collins, and she's going to talk about the power of questions. So some really interesting topics coming up. So as I say, though, we'll probably do a proper registration for future events through the website, but I'll keep you posted. And in the meantime, thank you to Jane and Charlotte for joining us, and anyone who joined live. And if you watch back, if you've got any questions, anything you want to feedback, then please let us know.